You're listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Congratulations, everybody. You made it. And a big old congratulations to Tonzi Norman over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We got a great show, albeit a little bit of a hastier show. It'll be a quick one just because scheduling on this particular Friday got a little out of control. So we're glad that you're here. And I do want to remind everybody to follow us on multiple platforms. If you're not doing it already, you're really going to want to follow us on multiple platforms, because you never know when we will mysteriously disappear from your normal platform. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to follow twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio. If you're on Twitch, remember to follow youtube.com/Canary Cry Radio. We're also on DLive and all those other places. So also remember to subscribe to the RSS feed through your favorite podcast player. And I do want to remind everybody, again, a little bit of a short producer list for today. So if you've been thinking about becoming a producer of the show, head on over to canarycryradio.com/support to get some producer credit on today's show. All right, folks, stay hydrated and let's go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 12th, 2021. And this is episode 299. And today, Box Tower of Shiny Babel Poop. Oh, no. We're a very serious show, people. Don't let this surprise you. But I am not the Tower of Babel. I am your best buddy, Basil. Oh, gosh. We're off to a rough start, Gonz.
And this is Gonz. Welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events, but also poop emojis.
Oh, geez.
A shorter show today because you're getting your tooth looked at by a professional.
Yes, professional tooth looker-atter. And when I made the appointment, it did not occur to me that today was going to be the way that it is. So it's going to be a little bit shorter of a show, but it's going to pack a punch, folks. So we're excited to make it happen.
Yeah, the first thing I want to mention before we get into it is if you have a Canary Cry calendar, today is Stabman Day.
Oh, wow. It's already Stabman Day.
It is. And for those of you who have no idea, what are we referencing here?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what Stabman Day represents. Is this the anniversary of the dinosaur noises, or what is it? Is there an explanation on the calendar?
There's no explanation on the calendar. I believe it's the date of the guy with the narwhal.
Ah, yes. Okay, that's what it was. Yes, last year a man was going on a knife rampage or something on the London Bridge. Is that correct?
I think so.
I think so too. And a man stopped that attack by stabbing that guy with a narwhal horn.
Yeah.
Which was just one of the most bizarre stories. But, you look back on 2020 and starting off the year with a man stopping a terrorist attack with a narwhal horn was just the beginning.
It was. And the piece of art that we're looking at here, for those of you watching on the screen, is Basil with one eye, Illuminati confirmed, with T-Rex arms for your dinosaur noises.
Yes.
And, holding a narwhal.
And holding a narwhal. Yeah, some deep Canary Cry lore.
Yes.
So there you go. If you're new to the show and that doesn't make any sense, you just keep listening.
Scroll back.
Keep scrolling. Okay, well, you have anything else to talk about before we jump right in?
I do real quick. There was a thing that, this isn't an official story, but because there's a cat involved, I thought I'd try to cheer you up before the doctors are going to come stabbing at your teeth.
Oh, thank you.
This is the Washington Post headline. At first, cat lawyer was embarrassed Then he realized we could all use a laugh. I don't know if you saw this, but
I did.
This made me howl out loud. This is a Zoom call. I think it's like a court Zoom call. And one of the people in the Zoom call has a cat filter, and he doesn't know how to turn it off. It is quite good.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You
His
might
eyes.
Want to
we're trying to. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it.
I'm prepared to go forward.
I'm not a cat.
I can see that. I think if you click the up arrow next to this.
Anyway, that's just hilarious how the guy, he sounds so distraught. He's like,
I love, he knows something is wrong, and this is not going the way. Mind you, this is a Zoom call. This is not just a Zoom call. This is like a Zoom. It's either a deposition or an actual court case.
It is
being done on Zoom, and he has a kitten filter he's a kitten. And his eyes are moving around and his mouth moves as he talks. It's hilarious. And he's just trying to keep it going. I'm prepared to go forward, as if everybody in the court would be like, yes, sure. Let us move forward with the kitten lawyer. This is fine.
I was showing the wife this video, and she was like, this happens all the time with different business calls and stuff. She was like, you'd be surprised how much it happens. And I was like, oh, great. So she didn't think it was too unique, but it's just the fact that it was a court case and they're trying to keep a straight face, and the guy's voice is the best.
You can hear the fear in his voice.
He's really concerned.
He has no idea why this is happening. He doesn't know how to make it stop. He's trying to be a professional. He's like, I'm prepared to go forward. Like, I can deal with this if you can. He's almost daring the judge and the other lawyers to go ahead with the case with kitten lawyer. Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. All right. Well, just wanted to throw that in there just for laughs. And real quick, if you do a social media post with a call to action, then tag the post with hashtag Canary Cry News Talk and include a link to something that we've done in the past, Canary Cry Radio or News Talk, an episode, or maybe canarycry.community. You have an opportunity to receive a 1 ounce silver coin.
Yes, the Canary Cry Silver Giveaway. And more people are participating. And if you want to enter into a chance to receive this silver coin, so generously provided by producer Aaron Moffat, check him out on YouTube there, talking about scripture, eschatological conversations, precious metals, and crypto, all sorts of good stuff. Thank you very much, producer Aaron Moffat. And we will continue to keep an eye out for these social posts, and every social post that includes a call to action, a hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and a link gets one entry into the drawing.
There you go.
So get on it, folks.
And real quick, just a reminder.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
I feel like we need a rave, I wish the screen would go dark with rave lights and lasers or something when we do that.
We could set that up. We can make that work. Take a little bit of time, but
a lot of time.
Yes, so make sure to like the video there so we can harness the power of the algorithms to take over the planet.
Yep.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, folks, we're going to start off the show proper here with a Flippy update. If you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a proxy conversation to discuss how robotics and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, Gons, just a quick Flippy update for those who might be considering going on a vacation here in the future as the world teases us about opening back up. But cruise lines are doing their best to adapt to the new COVID-19, the new normal, man. This is coming from cruise critic cruisescruises.com, which is a well-known website for anybody who tries to get good deals on cruises. And the headline reads, MSC Cruises unveils first robotic bartender at sea on board new ship. It reads like this: MSC Cruises has unveiled the first robotic bartender at sea, Rob, on board
Rob.
its newest ship, MSC Virtuosa. Rob, short for robot. Very clever, MSC
Come on,
Cruises.
they could have done better.
They're not even trying.
They should have hired us to come up with the name.
Oh, I've got a whole notebook full of them. I could help them out. Rob, short for robot, will be the resident barman in the ship's fully immersive new bar experience, the Starship Club. Ooh. Have you ever been on a cruise, Gons?
No.
They are just a delightful mix of, pleasant vacationry and also just the most tacky, old school, over the top experiences that you can have. And yes, this is a good example. The Starship Club, which will be unveiled when MSC Virtuosa starts sailing on April 16th this year. The Starship Club includes 3D holograms and immersive digital art wall and a 12-seater infinity digital interactive table, designed to give passengers a fully immersive space-style bar experience at sea. Rob, meanwhile, will take drink orders from passengers, mixes them up, and even speak to passengers in one of 8 languages, depending on which language they place their drink order. According to MSC, quote, Rob has a clear personality that evolves with the surrounding settings and atmospheres. Oh, gosh. That could be dangerous. I mean, I could see how it might be fun, if the bar gets a little rowdy, Rob sort of responds. But if there's a bar fight, does Rob jump in and, protect his livelihood? I don't know. Evolving robot personalities sounds cute, but that's exactly how they turn on us. He uses his LED face to convey emotion so that guests can enjoy his performance whilst they sip on their cocktail. It's not the first time a cruise line has introduced a robotic bartender. Royal Caribbean pioneered this on their Quantum-class ships in their Bionic Bar. But this was just an arm. Oh, Flippy. Flippy had his own job on Royal Caribbean cruises, not a whole robot. And Costa Cruises uses Pepper as a guest services robot. We're all familiar with Pepper if you listen to the show. However, this is the first time a line has used a humanoid-type robot as an interactive bartender. So there you go. There's a space-age bar on their new cruise ship. And again, another step towards the personhood of robots and exploring the human-robot relationship, which is being tested out in many industries and areas of the world. And what a better way to, make an emotional connection with robots than to, have it keep serving you drinks.
Yeah, there was a movie, I think it was called Passengers, if I'm not mistaken, like Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt or something. And that there was a robot bartender in that movie, but it was very humanoid, but it played a role. Yeah, it kind of played a role in the storyline. But this whole thing, cruise ships are known for a lot of people being inebriated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It is just one big party on the ship.
Yeah, nobody's got to drive home, so.
Sure. So I'd imagine the novelty will be very, very attractive. But also, I can see the robot really making some people angry. Not getting the drink right.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, once you get some people a little bit too sauced.
Little tipsy, yeah.
Yeah, any little whoopsie daisies in the conversational or just the robot human experience, this is really going to test the robot human interaction, because as we saw back when Siri was kind of a new thing, there's still an ongoing conversation of, should Siri still respond and do what you ask if you treat Siri poorly?
Well, there was that
calling
other story.
Siri names, doing things like that. And a lot of people are pushing for Siri to not obey you if you treat Siri poorly,
right.
Just to like train humans to be nice to robots.
Yeah, and I think we reported a story a few weeks ago about how people respond better to, or like more, they have more grace for robots that are shaped like a human. If they're not shaped like a human, they get all mad at it. Was that right?
Yeah.
Is that the thing? So I mean, this
guy.
Well,
they have more patience if it has a human sounding voice, and if it looks like a human. If it doesn't look humanoid and it has more of a robotic voice, yes, some people were enraged by the robot.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, good luck to the cruise people.
Yeah, we'll see. It's, again, if nothing else, I mean, of course, it's a fun novelty for them to try to like make cruises seem safer, etc. But
make cruises safe again.
In the big picture of robot human interactions, this is a prime experimental setup. And of course, you don't get robots without them collecting user data, and I'm sure the experiences with this robot bartender are going to be used to further the field of robot human interaction.
Yep.
Just don't get violent. Who knows what'll happen? He's got those big, strong, flippy arms. It's got like 3 elbows. Yeah. It could twist you up like a pretzel.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to turn out. He does have pokey finger hands too, so just be careful.
Somebody in the chat was mentioning, flirting with this is Jared in YouTube. Flirting with bartenders is part of what makes the bar fun. They can't take that away. Jared, I'm sure there will be some people flirting with this robot.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah. I mean, think about the privacy issues, you get into an argument with a spouse, you go to the robot bar. Let me tell you something about
yeah, right.
And then they record it all. They record it all,
On one hand, I could see how like it might be easier to converse and let out your frustrations to an inanimate object, or I guess animate, but unconscious object. But at the same time, yeah, it's all getting recorded, and you will hear the recordings in divorce court.
Yep. Well, hopefully people can go back on cruises, because guess what, Basil? It's a new year.
Welcome to Chinese News.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, I forgot I had this Medical Express story of the most terrifying. This was another option for you for your Flippy update. We will not report it other than to say that the headline is surgical robots could make radical prostatectomy safer and less invasive, and just the picture of the most terrifying pro-looking machine.
I'm not sure how you make that procedure less invasive, but
I don't know, but that thing is just terrifying.
Not make me feel better about it.
But the story here, Toronto Star, lucky break, Chinese astrologers say the year of doom is ending and relief will come in the year of the ox. As you know, it's Chinese New Year today. And I can't actually read the story, but the point being that astrologers are all saying that this last year, I think it was a year of the rat, was once every 60 years the year of doom comes around. So of course, since China runs the world, apparently the entire world saw doom. But as a conjunction to that story, and coming off a Flippy report here, thestar.com, future CNY, how robots are helping to mind write the stroke of Chinese calligraphy. And just real briefly here, it says hanging the Chinese character Fu, F-U, which means happiness. I just thought that was hilarious. On doors and walls is the most common and an important custom of Chinese New Year, which happens tomorrow, which is today. The character which expresses people's delight in the festival and their wishes for the coming year, is traditionally handwritten by calligraphers. But now a robot arm has taken over the job at the Academy of Medical Engineering and Transnational Medicine under Tianjin University in China. Wasn't Tianjin where they had that giant explosion a few years ago?
I believe so, yeah.
The year 2021 is the year of the ox, according to the Chinese zodiac. The Chinese characters Fu and Niu, ox in English, written on red paper, are pasted on the walls of the academy. Quote, "These characters are written by a robot arm controlled by our researchers' minds," said Associate Professor Zhu Minpeng from the academy. "It is supported by brain-computer interaction, BCI technology." I thought BCI was brain-computer interface, but in China, apparently it's interaction. Either way, BCI is a system that allows a person to control a computer or other electronic devices using his or her brain waves without requiring any movement or verbal instruction. And it kind of goes on here. We don't need to finish the story, but there you go. Mind controlled. What a perfect time.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because calligraphy is one of those ancient arts in the East, and
it's hard.
Yeah, it's very difficult, but it's also got sort of a sacred quality in many of those cultures, and that's why you get a calligrapher to write this these symbols on your on your door.
Yeah, you write it and then paste. Yeah, put it on.
Yeah,
the door.
And it's got it's kind of taken very seriously, and so this is another situation where we're seeing some of these Eastern countries, hand over a lot of these sort of sacred ideas and activities over to robots, like such as the robot monks, the robot Buddhist priests, the things like that. So they are. Just taking it to the next level again and again.
Yeah, and interesting that we're in the year of the ox, and there's a proverb, Proverbs 14:4, "Where no oxen are, the manger is clean, but much revenue comes by the strength of the ox." It's a bull run, Basil. It's a bull run. That's what I'm trying to say.
I never thought about it that way. That's fun.
It's the bull run year. So there you go. And then, of course, there's this story here based on the episode art.
It's a bidet. Don't get me started.
It's not quite a bidet, but I love this story. NewYorkPost.com. Amazon's new Virginia headquarters building compared to a poop emoji.
Yeah.
And talk about SHTY design. Is how they wrote this. Amazon's new proposed headquarters in Arlington, Virginia is a glistening double helix, but it's being compared to a poop emoji in good humor on Reddit. The 2.8 million square foot double helix shaped building designed by architecture firm NBBJ was inspired by DNA, galaxies, weather patterns, pine cones, and seashells, according to the building proposal press release, which didn't mention whether excrement was also an inspiration. Members of the local R Nova Northern Virginia Reddit group responded positively to the new dung-like building, calling it, quote, a beautiful piece of architecture, and saying, quote, "I'd rather people try building like this rather than some generic-looking skyscraper." Another said, "Imagine starting your days by having a healthy uphill walk in a forest to your office, looking out your window and seeing trees and Potomac." All right, so in any case, I think the thing that people miss here, they say it's double helix and all that kind of stuff. This is like a modern version of a ziggurat.
Yeah, it's it's very modern, but definitely has the layered ziggurat look, which is harkens back to the Tower of Babel.
Right.
And, when it's Amazon's new headquarters, it's it's hard to miss the connection between man's search for overcoming God and the connections between this architecture here. And it's funny that they are trying to say it's a double helix. You've obviously got the connections to transhumanism and things like that, which many theories connect some very strong transhumanism trends with the Tower of Babel and more closely, obviously, the modern Towers of Babel.
Yeah, and it's if you look up dung in the Bible, there's plenty of references to dung.
Okay.
More than you'd think. I think people will be surprised if they just go to your Bible search engine and just type in dung and do a little go down the rabbit trail of how God thinks about our righteousness and various other things. There's dung gates and dung hills, and it's the references here are just way too poetic to even get into in this episode here. But just the fact that Amazon is doing this and also
proud of it,
and proud of it, just goes to show where the spiritual influences are coming from there. But just thought I'd let everybody know that
that's why you come here first, folks. Speaking of transhumanism and man's search to become gods, I got this story from Reuters here for us.
Are you ready to become cyborg?
Get ready, folks. Matrix-style bracelets turn humans into batteries.
Yikes.
Dun, dun, dun. In a move that will give chills to fans of the dystopian movie The Matrix, scientists have developed a wearable device that could use the human body to replace batteries. Echoing world-domineering robots' use of enslaved humans in the 1999 cyberpunk movie, U.S. researchers at the University of Colorado Boulder have created an environmentally friendly gadget that harvests body heat and converts it into energy. Notice how in the same couple of sentences, I'll just take this 2 sentences talking about world domineering robots, enslaved humans, in the same sentence as environmentally friendly and
friendly gadget.
Harvests body heat. So this is another interesting example of how apparently formerly terrifying concepts are mixed in with protecting the environment.
Well, they're presented as these just a joke, or just something that's not threatening, like a poop emoji. Very similar if you think about it.
The idea will sound familiar to lovers of the iconic film starring Keanu Reeves, where humans were trapped in the Matrix, a simulated reality, while hooked up to machines to provide electrical power for robots that have taken over the world. Quote, thermoelectric devices can provide continuous power to wearable devices and could potentially replace batteries in the future, said the paper's senior author Jinglang Zhao, told the Thomson Reuters Foundation in emailed comments. Quote, we hope this technology could, at least partially, solve the pollution problems of electronic waste, he said. Adding the tool is fully recyclable. The devices generate about 1 volt of energy per square centimeter of skin covered. While more research is needed to increase the amount of power produced and allow for mass production, the gadgets could be on sale in 5 to 10 years, Zhao said. Quote, just don't tell the robots, the university said in a statement. We don't want them getting any ideas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there we go. The human harvesting, or the harvesting of human energy to fuel electronics and robots is closer than we may have thought.
Yeah, this is very much the first step in the desire for patents like the one we saw last year in March, the Microsoft patent 060606. Do you remember that one? Where they were basically putting together a patent to
W 2020-060606.
Right. That harnesses biometrics to mine for cryptocurrencies. And of course, the main takeaway being that most of it had to do with centralized cryptocurrencies. That speaking of Amazon, we didn't report the story, but Amazon is trying a digital currency in Mexico. So we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, this type of technology, I think, is going to be used as a way to, and part of the environmental conversation is the perfect way to get everybody on board. It's like, oh, we don't want to waste electricity. We don't want to pollute the earth. Wear this.
Yeah, if it'll save the earth, I'll harvest my own bioenergy to fuel the robots.
Yeah, very much. It feels like a bait and switch there.
Stepping stones, baby.
Yeah. Well, moving on here, we have another interesting story here. about light. This is Wired.com. Researchers levitated a small tray using nothing but light. One day, a magic carpet based on this light-induced flow technology could carry climate sensors high in the atmosphere, wind permitting, or UFOs, whatever you want to do. In the basement of University of Pennsylvania Engineering Building, Mohsen Azadi and his lab mates huddled around a set of blinding LEDs set beneath an acrylic vacuum chamber. They stared at the lights, their cameras, and what they hoped would soon be some action from the two tiny plastic plates sitting inside the enclosure. Quote, "We didn't know what we were expecting to see," says Azadi, a mechanical engineering PhD candidate, "but we hope to see something." It's like being outside and hoping to see a UFO. Similar vibe there.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. They wanted to see if those plates would levitate, lofted solely by the power of light. Light-induced flow, or photopheresis, isn't a breakthrough on its own. Researchers have used this physical phenomenon to float invisible aerosol and sort particles in microfluidic devices, but they have never before moved an object big enough to grasp, much less lifted anything that can carry objects itself. And it worked. When the two samples lifted, Azadi said, there was this gasp between all four of us. The mylar plates, each as wide as a pencil's diameter, hovered thanks to nothing but the energy from the light below, according to a paper published today in Science Advances. Energy from the LEDs energy from the LEDs heats up the mylar's specially coated underbelly, energizing air particles under the plastic and propelling the plates away with a tiny but mighty gust. The engineered structures in the first instance of stable photopheretic flight, and Azadi's accompanying theoretical model can simulate how different flying plates would behave in the atmosphere. Interesting that it's plates too. You know, it's kind of saucer-ish. And I'm not going to read the rest of it. It's kind of a long article, but there's some video footage here. You can see it. If somebody was like, "Oh, UFO footage," I'd be like, "Okay, yeah. What's the gag?"
Oh, wow. Yeah, and this thing's moving quite a bit. This is not like some little small centimeter of movement that you kind of, that scientists get very excited about. These scientists are very easily excitable. If they were able to lift it up a centimeter, it'd be pretty impressive. But they are lifting this thing and it's flying around the space. It's it's the real deal, man.
Yeah. I think maybe they are going to get ready to release some technology they already have.
That's interesting because, of course, with UFOs and stuff, the technology claimed to be powering it is sort of an anti-gravity technology that works with and against gravity of Earth or other surrounding things. But this is specifically it's photon powered. Mm-hmm. Which is new. I didn't even know people were working on this.
Well, now you know. It works. Little plates that can levitate. So there you go.
That's actually pretty impressive. Okay, There we go. Thanks, aliens, for the technology. Speaking of which, fun little thing. Elon Musk went on Rogan again recently. Yeah. And I had somebody send me some clips where Rogan was trying to get into the alien conversation with Elon. And he said the same thing we have the clip of. Where are the aliens?
I know. I heard that
a few times.
I heard that. Yeah. I definitely heard that. He was talking about
it was
Fermi's
weird.
paradox.
It was like we time traveled a quote from him. But he also went into how he doesn't think there are aliens. He's pretty uninterested in aliens. But he also said, if there is aliens, I would know. Which is like, whoa, okay, Elon.
Yeah, it's almost like he's saying he is the alien. That's the vibe I got. I was like, oh, you're saying you're the alien.
Something. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, maybe. It's just, well, right. I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting thing. It's like, if there is aliens, if anybody would know there's aliens, it would be me. And I'm telling you there's not. It's like, oh, okay. Well, maybe it's a matter of language. Maybe he's saying there's no aliens, but there are interdimensional travelers who have been taking over our planet slowly and quietly for centuries. Who knows? Yeah. Okay. Want to talk about Waccine a little bit?
Let's do it.
Vaccine.
A pandemic special.
So there's a fun little piece of info, a little tweet that was floating around. USA Today tweeted, fully vaccinated people who meet certain criteria won't be required to quarantine following exposure to someone with COVID-19, according to the CDC, which really flies in the face of everything we have heard about the vaccine. But let me just hit this article for just a second. Excuse me. The U.S. is inching closer to herd immunity. We had somebody email us and point this out, and I apologize, I don't have it right in front of me. But remember last year, herd immunity was sort of being downplayed and ignored. The common knowledge up until last year was, herd immunity is a thing. You get enough people, 70%, or if you're Fauci, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95% of people vaccinated or immune in one way or another, then you reach herd immunity and the thing dies out. But then last year, when they were talking about vaccines, they started talking about how herd immunity isn't real. And, you had Fauci and the CDC and everybody talking about downplaying herd immunity because it was kind of giving people hope. But now we're back on the herd immunity train here. The U.S. is inching closer to herd immunity almost 2 months into the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, with more than 1 million Americans getting vaccinated per day. Wow, that's a lot, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But with a large portion of the population still waiting to get vaccinated and questions around asymptomatic spread, immunized Americans wonder, is it safe to leave the house and live a pre-pandemic lifestyle? Not just yet, experts say. Getting the vaccine is not a free pass. To put aside all the public health measures officials have been reiterating since the beginning of the pandemic, Dr. Anthony Fauci said on CNN Town Hall in January. Quote, we don't want people to think that just because they're vaccinated that other public health recommendations just don't apply, said the nation's leading infectious disease expert. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Each vaccination gets the U.S. closer to herd immunity, which apparently we like again, and closer to easing restrictions and returning to normal, health experts say. Until then, social gatherings and travel without protective measures could jeopardize how quickly that may happen. What the data says about the COVID-19 vaccine, social gatherings, and travel. Data shows small gatherings. I don't even want to read this. Let me skip down.
You don't have to.
Yeah,
but there was something going around at the end of last year about how the World Health Organization updated their definition of herd immunity, and whereas before the language didn't exactly include vaccines, in the new updated version in November did. And their whole defense is like, oh, we don't want people to be exposed to the virus to gain herd immunity. And it's definitely to get people used to the idea that, the only way to get herd immunity is through the through the jab, which is pretty ridiculous. But they had to update the definition before they can roll out the phrase herd immunity and really push it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is the agenda going on here, because otherwise, what's the survival rate of this thing? It's pretty high.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is regarding the sort of the wrap up of this article being that if you get vaccinated, you potentially don't have to quarantine after having exposure with a COVID-19 person. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Again and again, the studies show that getting vaccinated, the COVID-19 vaccine, does not stop you from spreading the disease. So, it's this counterintelligence where, if you have, allegedly, if you have the vaccine, you just won't be affected by COVID when it's in your system, but you're still able to spread it. Which is why they were saying, you still have to wear a mask, you still have to social distance, you still have to stay away from people. But now they're going completely 180. saying if you do get the vaccine, you don't have to quarantine. Go nuts. Which, I mean, with their logic and the current, scientific, what's the word, majority, of information, says that even if you are vaccinated, you can still spread it. So they're basically encouraging people to become spreaders, vaccinated super spreaders.
Oh man, this is all complicated ridiculousness. And if there are those of you listening out there, maybe you're listening to us for the first time, we have covered a lot of information regarding this whole situation for the last year. It's the reason why we started doing 3 episodes a week. So definitely go back into the archives and look stuff up, because we've definitely done our fair share of covering all the inconsistencies, the deceptions, a lot of it. And I do plan to do sort of a full rundown of those points in Age of Deceit 4, and just lay it out, in a 20 to 30 minute segment, just show everybody here point by point, like boom, 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 boom. Because, there's a lot of people talking about it. And there's a lot of people doing great research about it. But I think going to the source documents and showing exactly why there's so much inconsistency, not just, other people talking about it, but literally showing the source documents is something that can be useful to. And I think in hindsight, more and more of that is going to come out, like it does in this story here. This is a WorldNet Daily article. Study finds CDC inflated COVID numbers by 1,600%. And it says here, a peer-reviewed study contends that the CDC violated federal law by inflating coronavirus fatality numbers. The figures were inflated by at least 1,600%, according to the Public Health Initiative of the Institute for Pure and Applied Knowledge, which published the study titled COVID-19 Data Collection, Comorbidity, and Federal Law, a Historical Retrospective. The study asserts that the CDC willfully violated multiple federal laws, including the Information Quality Act, Paperwork Reduction Act, and Administrative Procedures Act, reported the National File. In January, as WND reported, the World Health Organization admitted the, quote, gold standard PCR tests used to determine whether or not a person is infected with COVID-19 are not reliable on the first try, and a second test might be needed. That fact, the National File notes, corresponds with the CDC's, quote, quiet admission that it blended viral and antibody test results for its case numbers, and that people can test positive on an antibody test if they have antibodies from a family of viruses that causes the common cold. And we've been, covering that one for a while. Among the notable findings in the study is the conclusion that the CDC, quote, illegally enacted new rules for data collection and reporting exclusively for COVID-19 that resulted in a 1,600% inflation of current COVID-19 fatality totals.
Called it.
The watchdog group All Concerned Citizens said in a statement provided to National File. I mean, we did a whole episode. I remember digging into the World Health Organization's own documents on how they said that the practitioners are to record COVID deaths and just use your own judgment, even if they're not lab positive. If they have the symptoms, might as well call it a COVID death. It was just ridiculous.
Right.
Quote, the research demonstrates that the CDC failed to apply for mandatory federal oversight and failed to open a mandatory period for public scientific comment in both instances, as is required by federal law, before enacting new rules for data collection and reporting, the group said. The study pointed out that on March 24th, the CDC published an alert instructing medical examiners, coroners, and physicians to de-emphasize underlying causes of death, also known as pre-existing conditions or comorbidities. COVID-19 was to be listed in part 1 of death certificates as a definitive cause of death, regardless of confirmatory evidence, rather than in part 2 as a contributor to death in the presence of pre-existing conditions. On its website, the CDC says just 6% of the people counted as COVID-19 deaths died of COVID-19 alone. And covered all that, and then it goes into some stuff that we've covered before. But it's good to see that that there are others, like actual official organizations, coming out and pointing out the inconsistencies, going as far as to say that it violated some federal laws. I didn't know there were laws attributed to that stuff, but hey, I think we were all onto something. Everybody that's been doing the research based on publicly available information, we're kind of vindicated here at least.
Yeah.
And again, it's not to say people didn't die from this, but I think it's upsetting to think that there were so many people who lost loved ones in this time that truly believe that they lost their loved ones due to COVID. Mm-hmm. And just the psychological manipulation of that in general. I mean, think about the deception of that. It's very unsettling that, how did your grandpa die or whatever? Oh, COVID, when it wasn't necessarily COVID. I don't know. It's just it's awful. It's really disgusting to me. So anyway, I just thought it's WND, so expected. But it's a good confirmation from some of the things we've been pointing out for months and months.
Yep, and just getting more and more momentum behind it. Again, the math was always the issue, and recently there's different states and other authorities have been refining how they count COVID cases and figuring out more effective ways to enumerate cases and other related incidences like deaths and infections and things like that. And as they refine the math, the numbers just keep going down.
I know.
But that's okay. It's supposed to happen now that, Biden's president. So they can say that he fixed it all.
Yep. Here's a combo.
We're taking things that are genetically modified organisms and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. Now is the time to do what you're told.
Oh, yeah. That goes together well.
I know.
This is coming from CNBC.com. The headline is Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci talk regularly. Here's what they're discussing now. Okay, so good to know that they're becoming fast friends and have a lot to talk about, collecting stamps, baseball.
Just to mention too, in the photos here, and I can't open the article because it's got they want me to sign up or something like that, but I have an alternative article here that I think it's the same article. But there's a third person there that's not getting the headline cred, but that's Dr. Francis Collins. He's one of the Vatican science czar. I can't remember the exact title, but there's your religious arm right there.
Who's basically he's sort of the religious arm of the three
Fauci, amigos.
Yes, the three amigos: Fauci, Gates, and what's his name?
Francis Collins.
Francis Collins, that's right. And it is interesting because they kind of hold different positions. Again, in society, you've got Francis Collins on the religious side, Fauci on the governmental side, and Bill Gates on the private sector side. So
the unholy trinity.
Yes, the trifecta of power. Let's see what they're talking about. Dr. Anthony Fauci and billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates talk regularly these days. And as you would imagine, they mostly talk about ending the pandemic. More specifically right now, quote, "We're talking a lot about these variants and what that will do." Gates, whose Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has committed $1.75 billion to fight against COVID-19, told Francis Stead Sellers during a Washington Post Live special Wednesday, there are multiple COVID variants emerging from the United Kingdom, South Africa, and Brazil, which spread more easily and quickly. While the new variants don't affect the ability to diagnose COVID, quote, "it does mess up the antibodies," Gates said, quote, "to some degree, it'll affect the vaccines. The mRNA vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech currently in use in the U.S. and other countries appear to provide a degree of protection against the UK and South African strains. However, the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is approved for emergency use in the UK and India, only offers minimal protection against mild to moderate disease caused by the South African coronavirus variant. Johnson & Johnson, which applied for emergency use authorization in the U.S. February 4th, also said its vaccine provides less protection on the South African strain. With that in mind, Gates said that he and Fauci are currently discussing whether, quote, we need to create a new variant of the vaccine. Gates's foundation is funding trials in Brazil and South Africa that will produce more definitive data about whether or not new vaccine is needed. He said that data, well, hold on, sorry. More definitive data about whether or not a new vaccine is needed, he said. Weird. That data will be available later this month, he said. Oh, such great writing here, CNBC. Quote, Fauci and I were talking about the critical path in our last call and how to orchestrate Gates Foundation resources and government resources to get to the bottom of these questions, Gates said. Gates said, oh my gosh, this is the worst. Gates said, Gates said, he said, Gates said. Gates said Fauci and the scientists on the foundation team often share information, yada, yada, yada.
There's a part about conspiracy theories in there.
I know. That's what I was trying to get down to it. Do you have it highlighted?
Yeah, I can find it. Here. So the pair have additionally been the target of baseless conspiracy theories across the virus.
Around the virus, including that Gates was using COVID.
Sorry, I'm the one I have here says a cross, and I wonder if it's one of those things where they change some of the verbiage
they probably
so they don't get flagged.
It in the moments that we started the episode.
Oh, either that or this is an alternative website here, so it could be the reason why they, sometimes they don't want to get caught basically plagiarizing articles from like NBC or CNBC. So anyway, go on.
The pair have also been the target of baseless conspiracy theories around the virus, including that Gates was using COVID-19 vaccines to implant monitoring microchips in billions of people. Quote, Dr. Fauci and I are in the conspiracy theory threads quite a bit, Gates said in the Washington Post review. Quote, it's disappointing that kind of titillating, oversimplistic explanation, not sure if that's oversimplistic. Some of those conspiracy theories get pretty complicated. Titillating, oversimplistic explanation is easier to click on than, the truth about what a great job the world has done to get these vaccine goings, Gates said. I like how he said, the truth about what a great job the world has done to get these vaccines going. What he means is, what a great job I've done. Yeah. Fauci and Gates have known each other for more than a decade, often collaborating on the foundation's vaccine efforts, yada, yada, yada. They work together and they love each other very, very much. So there you go. They don't worry, folks. They have someone to talk to, each other.
Maybe they're the only people that they have, or that each other is all they have. Everybody else is skeptical of all this nonsense.
Well, when you get to a certain level, nobody else can understand.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good job, guys. I'm glad they found each other. What are they doing over there? Do you think they're playing cards or something, or do you think it's just?
I think they compare strategies for taking over the world.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, more stuff coming out. This is NewYorkPost.com. Cuomo aide Melissa DeRosa admits they hid nursing home data so feds wouldn't find out. This is pretty crazy. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but a couple paragraphs to get an idea. Governor Andrew Cuomo's top aide privately apologized to Democratic lawmakers for withholding the state's nursing home death toll from COVID-19, telling them, quote, we froze out of fear that the true numbers would, quote, be used against us by federal prosecutors, the Post had learned. The stunning admission of a cover-up was made by Secretary of the Governor Melissa DeRosa during a video conference call with state Democratic leaders, in which she said the Cuomo administration had rebuffed a legislative request for the tally in August because, quote, right around the same time, then President Donald Trump turns this into a giant political football, according to an audio recording of the 2-hour-plus meeting. Quote, He starts tweeting that we kill everyone in nursing homes, DeRosa said. He starts going after New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, starts going after California Governor Gavin Newsom, starts going after Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, all Democrats. In addition to attacking Cuomo's fellow Democratic governors, DeRosa said Trump, quote, directs the Department of Justice to do an investigation into us, and we basically froze, she told the lawmakers on the call, because then we were in a position where we weren't sure if what we were going to give to the Department of Justice or what we give to you guys, what we start saying was going to be used against us, while we weren't sure if there was going to be an investigation. DeRosa added, that played a very large role in this.
Liar!
After dropping the bombshell, DeRosa asked for, quote, a little bit of appreciation of the context and offered what appeared to be the Cuomo administration's first apology for its handling of nursing homes amid the pandemic. And the numbers here, let's see, instead of the mea culpa to the grieving family members of more than 13,000 dead seniors, there was a number here. Let me try to find it. I think it was like 4,000 or 5,000 more that had actually died than what they reported. Let's see. State Attorney General Letitia James last month released a damning report that estimated the deaths of nursing home residents in hospitals would boost the grim tally by more than 50%. Health Commissioner Howard Zucker finally released figures showing the combined total was 12,743 as of January 19th. In a Wednesday letter to lawmakers, Zucker said the total number of nursing home residents killed by COVID-19 had increased to 13,297. That number jumps to 15,049 when assisted living adult care facilities are factored in. And I think they only said like 5,000 or 6,000. So, yeah, I mean, is she going to go to jail? This is pretty crazy,
isn't it? Yeah, admitting to changing the numbers, not for any good reason except for you were afraid of lawsuits.
Yeah, and this could be part of, what was that line from the last episode from the Time.com article? Well-organized elite cabal, orchestrating, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, because it was all about Trump, right? It was all about, oh, we can't let Trump's going after Trump. So, of course, they had to fidget the numbers. I know that had to do with the election, but I think it's obviously all connected. But yeah, this is it would basically make sense in that regard, because if the numbers were honest, it would prove Trump right, you know, right, in the heat of the election and all this stuff,
right? Yeah.
Concerning the topic of the Rona. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm just wondering if anything's going to happen to her, but probably not, because there's two sets of laws in this country. There's laws for the Democrats and everybody else, apparently.
Well, at least for the ruling class and the ruled class, played by different rules. Yeah. Okay, I got a little interesting thing here to go through. On this show, part of what we like to do is, to keep track of how fringy folk or Christians or so-called conspiracy theorists or whatever are sort of being depicted and talked about in the mainstream, because it's very important to have an idea about what those who you may get into a conversation with, what exactly are they, what's their view, what's their angle, what is their cognitive construct of who they're dealing with when they're talking to a little bit of a person on the fringe. And this is coming from local10.com. I believe, what is this, an ABC outlet? Well, we'll get into that in a second. That's weird. I cannot find the
it's from Florida.
The parent company of this Local 10. What are you? Anyways, the headline reads, Evangelicals struggle to combat coronavirus misinformation, researcher says. Okay. Starts out like, where is it? COVID, Reverend Albert, how do you pronounce this? Ichu?
Yeah, I don't know. Ixchu? Or
I'll say Ichu for ease. Reverend Albert Ichu is telling his parishioners that the COVID-19 vaccines are related to the Antichrist. Quote, COVID-19 could mean a certificate of identification, Ichu said during a recent service at the Iglesia Fraternidad de Fe, which he co-founded in deep South Miami-Dade County. So already, I mean, it looks like we're talking about a Spanish-speaking church.
And one guy.
The one guy who runs a Spanish-speaking church in Miami-Dade County. And notice the opening quote here. COVID-19 could mean a certificate of identification. Well, yeah, that's not how is that crazy? You know,
we already have many certificates of identification.
Yeah, first of all, there's already tons of certificates of identification. And the statement COVID-19 could mean a certificate of identification is not a fringy idea. I mean, that's in mainstream news, vaccine ideas. That's not a conspiracy
Don't
theory.
You know that's the Antichrist? Period. I mean, it is if you're really
gonna
getting
love this.
General.
You're gonna love
yeah,
this.
Go ahead.
Religious leaders worldwide have been discussing the spiritual implications of the coronavirus pandemic, but most have agreed that saving lives through science is a priority. Yeah. And here's another great thing. What does saving lives through science mean? Does that mean taking vitamin D? Because that's science. Science gave us vitamin D pills and zinc pills and hydroxychloroquine pills. But no, you know that what they're saying here is vaccine. You just know.
Science is truth.
Right. So already there's some issues with the language being used. But most have agreed that saving lives through science is a priority, even when it was revealed that the vaccine had an indirect link to cells derived from aborted fetuses. Okay. Okay. Reverend Ryan Burge wasn't surprised about the misinformation in Miami-Dade. So there you go. What is the misinformation that we have heard so far? The only information that we've been given is that COVID could mean a certificate of identification, and that most religious leaders say that saving lives through science is a priority. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Reverend Ryan Burge wasn't surprised about the misinformation in Miami-Dade. The assistant professor at Eastern Illinois University said research shows evangelicals have a high propensity to engage in conspiratorial thinking. I don't know if I can disagree with that. Quote, there has always been a deep skepticism of government, and COVID has really made that worse, Burge said. Okay, that's can agree with that too.
I can agree with that, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's wrong with having a deep skepticism of government? That's the crazy thing. They're calling a deep skepticism of government a bad thing that crazy religious people have. I mean, what? Yeah. Anyways, according to the National Association of Evangelicals, they are more than twice as likely as the general public to say that science and religion are in conflict. But there is a movement fighting that. Ooh, Reverend Greg Laurie. Oh, Greg Laurie's popping up here. Yep. Reverend Greg, which is a controversial figure among many people. Reverend Greg Laurie, a megachurch pastor. Keep that in mind, that phrase, megachurch pastor. Reverend Greg Laurie, a megachurch pastor from California, is among the many evangelical leaders who disagree with the Apocalyptical Association. He tested positive for COVID-19 late last year and said the pandemic is a time to look for Christ, not for the Antichrist. This is generally good information. Deborah Harsma is the president of the Biologos Foundation, a Christian advocacy group aiming to raise awareness about the harmony between science and biblical faith. The foundation.
Yes, I know. Okay, good.
The Biologos Foundation is also led by one of the three amigos of the pandemic,
Dr. Francis Collins. That's his foundation.
Francis
Mr.
Collins,
Vatican Man.
Who we just saw hanging out with Fauci and and what's his face? Gates. A Christian advocacy group aiming to raise awareness about the harmony between science and biblical faith. The foundation compiled a list of about 2,700 Christian leaders who support scientists doing crucial biomedical research on COVID-19. Again, they compiled a list, which is already spooky, of 2,700 Christian leaders. Nobody compile lists. That never turns out well. Who support scientists doing crucial biomedical research on COVID-19. I think all of us would support scientists doing crucial biomedical research on COVID-19. It needs to be researched. It's crucial. Research it. But again, what they mean here is not doing general research like, is asymptomatic spread real? All the important stuff. What they mean by that is vaccines. 2,700 Christian leaders who support scientists making vaccines.
Right.
Or at least that's the implied the implication of what they're talking about here. Right. They're using very general language to make this very special 2,700 Christian leaders. They support scientists doing research. Well, we all pretty much support scientists doing research, real research, unbesmirched by politics and money and things like that. But no. The implication is this very special list of Christian leaders who are supporting, the vaccine is what they mean. Quote, over the summer, we saw increasing amounts of conspiracy theories circulating, and we wanted to show that there are members of the Christian community and many others who support the public health measures, Harsma told DW late last year.
There's no nuance there either. You could be completely skeptical of the public health measures and still not be carried away by like the most wildest of the conspiracy theories. There's
right.
No nuance.
Again, the generalizations are leading to it's implying that any conspiracy theory is just a crazy apocalyptic person, and that public health measures means supporting all public health measures, including lockdowns, the shutdown of the economy, the yada, yada, yada.
I'm about to get a sledgehammer out. You're going to get to that part, and I'm going to be very upset. Go ahead.
Ichu's controversial sermon made headlines on the Miami Herald as he allegedly began to impact the vaccination campaign in Homestead. During the controversial sermon, Ichu also told parishioners of public health measures during the pandemic were a form of psychological conditioning.
True. Okay. Agree.
They are. It doesn't take a crazy pastor to point that out. That's admitted that psychological conditioning is a part of the social change with COVID-19. That's not even conspiracy theory. Quote, they're conditioning you, right? And what's interesting is in various places you go and they take your temperature. Where are they taking your temperature? On your forehead, Ichu said in Spanish, referring to the book of Revelations. Quote, see how terrible? Ichu's apocalypse.
Read their Bible, for heaven's sakes.
Hey, it's Book of Revelation, singular, local10.com. Come on, man.
Book of Revelations. Ichu's apocalyptic narrative was not original. Reverend Jack Hibbs, the founder of a mega church in California. It's all mega churches, man.
There's nothing but mega churches here in California. No little churches, just mega churches.
That shows the conversation that these people are having. They're focusing on the messages of mega churches, which, you know what? I've gone to mega churches. I've worked at mega churches. Mega churches are just churches with the exception they have more opportunities to have public pressure put on them.
Yep.
The bigger that they get, the wider they have to appeal. Mm-hmm. And that's how you become a megachurch. You don't be a megachurch by having a niche strict reading of the gospel. You become a megachurch by having a broader, more friendly, and look, I'm not here to judge. There are some larger churches who have generally, relatively, had a pretty straightforward, by the numbers view of the gospel. But yes, there are opportunities for them to get a little bit less focused on what the gospel has to say. ECHU's apocalyptic narrative was not original. Reverend Jack Hibbs, the founder of a megachurch in California and a vocal supporter of the former president Donald Trump, had a similar sermon in December. Quote, "Don't be tricked into thinking, oh my goodness, the vaccines come in and that's the mark of the beast," Hibbs said during a sermon, according to Newsweek. Quote, "It's not the mark of the beast, it's conditioning you for it." Hey, well, that seems to be a reasonable.
I could agree with that. I don't know if there's anything wrong with that statement, but go
Yes, on. I know, right. Yeah. So what they're picking on this guy for saying that the vaccine is not the mark of the beast, but that, it could relate to the mark of the beast someday, which is that's not a wild thing to think. That's generally how we think about it here. We don't think the mark is the vaccine is the mark per se, but it's certainly is a step in what people have theorized the mark would be. Berg said the conspiracies were spreading online as the pandemic was politicized during the presidential election. The wave of misinformation prompted Walter Kim, the president of the National Association of Evangelicals, to interview Dr. Francis Collins of the National Institute of Health. There's our buddy, Francis Collins. Quote, and one thing to mention about this last paragraph here. It says, Burge said the conspiracy theories were spreading online as the pandemic was politicized. Sorry, that was not the one I was looking for. Anyways, I'll keep going. I lost it. Quote, "It has been a confusing time. Through knowledge God has given us to learn through science." Through knowledge God has given us to learn through science. What does that even mean?
Isn't science like, doesn't that mean knowledge? So through knowledge God has given us
and this is
to
the
learn
problem.
through knowledge.
People talk about science as if it was a thing, but science is not a thing, it's a process. That's what people forget, and even the mainstream, and that's what's led to scientism, where science being a belief system rather than a process of gaining understanding. Science in its purest form is supposed to be, have an idea, test the idea, figure out if your idea is right. That's science. But science is interchangeably used for this scientism idea, which is, believe whatever the priests of scientism tell you, which, the priests of scientism being scientists or Anthony Fauci or something like that.
Yeah.
Moving on. Through knowledge, God has given us to learn through science. But this particular COVID-19, and how can I do what needs to be done to keep other people safe and not be the next super spreader, despite my good intentions of being a Christian, reaching out to those who are in need, Collins says. This is tricky. What in the world was this quote? This is a quote from Francis Collins, the founder of the BioLogos initiative, society, what is it called? This is the full quote, word for word. "It has been a confusing time." He should say, "Here comes a confusing quote."
He sounds very confused.
It is so confusing. "Through knowledge God has given us to learn through science about this particular COVID-19, and how can I do what needs to be done to keep other people safe and not be the next super spreader, despite my good intentions of being a Christian reaching out to those who are in need." Are you following this at all?
I mean, the ideas one by one make sense, but it sounds like
he's trying to give me is there, but the words don't line up.
No, this is like a ramble.
Confusing time, and we don't want to be super spreaders, right? That's basically
I think so. Yeah,
it's confusing. And here's anyways, let's move on. I mean, there is no moving on.
No,
That's how they end. That's how they end the article, with the most confusing quote from Francis Collins. So anyways, I don't know. I think some intern wrote this this whole thing.
This is a horrible article.
But notice how they keep going into misinformation, conspiracy theories, all these wacky Christians, and the quotes that they're actually using are this. This is the wacky conspiracy theory of misinformation. I'll list them. COVID-19 could mean a certificate of identification.
You horrible Christian.
Okay. Yeah. There's literally nothing crazy about that. Let me see. Now I'm just trying to scroll and find these quotes here. So that one, you got that. I'm looking for them. There's not even that many.
The guy, the main guy they started with, he's got one more quote towards the end. They're conditioning you, right?
Right.
That whole thing. What's interesting?
Yeah. So they're conditioning you. What's interesting is they take your temperature on your forehead. See how terrible. Okay. So the crazy conspiracy theories listed in this article. 1 is COVID-19 will lead to some identification. 2, they're taking your temperature on your forehead. That crazy conspiracy theory. And then 3, you've got don't be tricked into thinking, oh my gosh, the vaccines, and that's the mark of the beast.
And that's a different person. That's Jack
a different
Hibbs.
person, but still, they're listing crazy conspiracy theories. 1, there will be an identification process with COVID-19. 2, they're taking your temperature on your forehead. 3, the vaccine is not the mark of the beast, is literally what Hibbs was saying. So that's his crazy conspiracy theory. And that's it. Those are the crazy conspiracy theories that they actually list. And the whole article is about how crazy and insane these preachers are. And the stuff that they're quoting is nowhere near any of the crazy conspiracy theories floating around there. I don't know. I just thought it was the wildest attempt at representing, how Christians feel about this stuff. It's just a bad article. I apologize for having read everybody a bad article.
No, it's okay. It points out the absurd. And I think the framing of people who follow Jesus, they put evangelicals here, but just more clearly stated, because there's a lot of things that I don't agree with in terms of the phrase or the title evangelical. I like Dave Daubenmire. He calls them evangelifish.
Evangelical is a politically invented term.
Yeah.
That's not even like a theological term.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, they use theological root words, but it's a politicized word.
The term evangelical was created in the mid-20th century to create the Christian voting bloc. That's where the term was actually created.
It was used before, but I think, when it was highly politicized was, in the 20th century. But the framing that all, and especially right now, that all Christians, evangelical, right-wing, conservative, nationalists are all terrorists, that narrative has been around for a long time. They've been trying to build it up. It feels like they've completed their mission to really paint those people in that light, or paint basically us. But here's a clip from the movie Contact. Do you remember the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, where they contact aliens and they built the thing and whatever? There is a crazy psycho, blonde-haired, Caucasian man who's a Christian, who's a psycho, who straps bombs on his chest or whatever. This is a clip from that character.
Now these scientists have had their chance. Are these the kind of people that you want talking to your God for you?
That depiction of the crazy Christian is exactly what they're trying to do to everybody.
Right.
And I think if you watch enough television shows and movies and stuff like that, you'll see that characterization of Jesus followers, I mean, for years and years and years. And so maybe someone writing this, the person writing this, Christina Vasquez, watched too many of those movies. It's subconsciously implanted in her brain that all evangelicals are crazy. She goes searching for quotes, and she couldn't quite find the quotes she was looking for. But hey, no one's going to read this anyway, so might as well stick them in there. But anyway, yep, good breakdown, good deconstruction.
Yeah, it's a bad article.
Yeah, bad.
Okay. Well, I think we should take a little break here because we're getting close to the time where I got to zoom out and get my teeth poked.
Okay, quick break here.
It's break time.
Come on, take a break. Okay, everybody, we are just going to take a quick break and do a couple of things. We're going to look at some art. We're going to thank some producers. It's going to be a great time. But don't go anywhere because after the break, we're going to zoom through some cancel culture updates. Been a lot of that happening lately. And then we got to thank the moms, after that. So stick around. First, let me tell you about the value for value model. You might notice, dear listener, that we don't read any ads on the show. We don't have any affiliate codes. We don't have none of that. That's because we are on the value for value model, which means we have cast off the shackles of the advertising prison that has gotten so many media creators stuck in advertiser jail. Advertising is a bigger problem than a lot of people think. Number one, it was made a very attractive way for certain content creators to, monetize and get more serious about creating the content that they want to create. But what they don't realize is that advertising is literally the excuse that has been used for so many things: privacy concerns, big data farming, censorship, deplatforming. It's all based around advertising, and it's got the whole world and the internet in a stranglehold. And so we've had many opportunities and people reach out to try to get us to advertise on this show, but we decided long ago that we did not want to even tempt fate by participating in that model. And you know what? We don't make as much money, but at least we're free, and that's what matters. Instead, we are on the value for value model, which means we create the value. We do the shows 3 times a week, and we like to think we do a pretty good job. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the opportunity to put some value back in. And it's not just charity. It's not just being generous, although it is both of those things, but it is a chance to become a producer of some media that you enjoy, you trust, and you want to see continue going. So we want to take a second and thank some of our producers, and I do call them producers because that's what they are. It'll just like the real world. If you pay to have a piece of media created, you are a producer of that media, not just you're not just pitching in, you're making it happen. So there's a couple of ways to do that. The first way is to head over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. We got a few producers coming in over there. I want to thank our first new producer. Gonz, are you ready?
Yep. There you go.
Producer Quantum Epic.
Ooh. Thank you
very much. Very epic name. Yes, super Quantum Epic. We also have a new producer, Veronica C.
Hey, thanks, Veronica.
Thank you very much. Next, we have producer Lovin Ya. Yeah, thank you very much, producer Lovin Ya. And that's it for patreon.com/CCNT. Thank you very much to those producers. Also, we have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. For those who don't know, Canary Cry Radio is a show that we've been doing since 2012. It's an interview style show. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you should definitely definitely head over and check out Canary Cry Radio. You can find that on all your podcast catchers as well as YouTube, places like that. And so some people come in and produce through that show, which is patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. And first of all, Gons, I want to thank producer Hoopluber.
Hey, producer Hoopluber. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have producer Drew P.
All right. Thank you, Drew
Thank
P.
you very much. And I think those are the two new producers for Canary Cry Radio. Thank you guys so much. Now, you can also become a producer. You don't have to go through Patreon. That's the beautiful thing about it. A lot of people don't like Patreon, and that's okay. That's why we have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support has all sorts of ways to become a producer. You can find some literature there on the value for value model. Also, you can learn about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. So learn about all of that stuff. But you can also become a producer in a couple ways. You can become a monthly recurring producer, which we are so grateful for. It helps to lay down a foundation of support to keep the show going. So thank you to all of our monthly producers. But if commitment is not your thing, you can come in with a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency and stuff like that available there for all you cool techie kids. But Gons, who do we have coming in on the PayPal?
PayPal. And by the way, before we move on here, there may be a day when we get banned and locked out of PayPal and Patreon.
Possible,
so far,
yeah.
we've been flying under the radar a little bit, but we've had colleagues where they've been locked out. And
we almost lost our Patreon because they thought we were Q people.
Yeah, that happened a few weeks ago. So just keep in mind that there are other ways that we have open with crypto and all that. But before we do, just get through the PayPal. Thanking people here, Stephanie G. Thank you, producer Stephanie.
Thank you very much, producer Stephanie.
And I'm going to mention the amount she gave. She gave $34. And she said, "Good morning, Basil and Gons. Bless this frigid day. This month's donation on behalf of the negative temperature this month at 4 a.m. Coldest was negative 34 degrees with wind chill. Montana life." All right, Montana.
Wow.
God bless you both.
Stay warm over there, Montana.
Yeah, start a fire. So thank you for that, Stephanie
Start
G.
a fire.
Well, I mean,
that's violence, Gons. We've got
okay.
a revolutionary over here.
All right. The other one is producer Ismail S.
Yes, thank you very much, producer Ismail.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a short day on the PayPal there, but we're thankful for all our producers.
Yeah, and you can go to canarycryradio.com/crypto to find out all about crypto, or not all about it, but just some stuff about it, and how you can maybe contribute to the show with cryptocurrencies. We did have somebody send us 0.008 Ethereum. So whoever
great.
you are out there, because it is anonymous, thank you for the Ether. And bull market. The bull market will prevail.
That's right.
And I bring all this stuff up because I'm looking at different platforms here to possibly move some of our social media and stuff like that. And Gab is one of those options. And I'm digging Gab. I like what they're doing. But because they've been locked out of PayPal and Patreon and even Visa and MasterCard and stuff, the only way they accept money is e-check, check by mail, or Bitcoin.
Wow.
So again, they really can't censor Bitcoin right now. I mean, there may be a day in the future, but right now the way it operates, they can't censor that. So just looking forward to where we may be in a few months, years, who knows. And just keep in mind, just educate yourselves. So, but anyway, thank you for that. Thank you to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. Appreciate that. That'll help anybody who's just looking for certain stories. And other ways you can support the show is with your time and talent. You can either send us a jingle, or you can draw some art.
One art, please.
I guess you don't have to draw art. You can computer art too. This first one is from producer Ali. And this is an image of a trash can with some googly eyes that says free hugs. This is in reference to... Go ahead.
Here. The story, the pseudo Flippy story last episode where the robot, the trash bag robot that could sense and understand hugs.
Yes.
So cute.
Yeah.
So she's got a beautiful trash can with some googly eyes. And I got to say, I'm looking at the shading on that trash bag. That is incredible, producer Allie. You're getting real good at that.
Very good. Oh, and like the multiple direction of the shadows too. Very
she's got the whole thing.
The details are outstanding. All right, so thank you, producer Allie. Keep it up. Next up, we have producer Mike B. He sent us a couple pieces. I'm trying to. I still need to figure out what this. I think it had something to do with. What was that word you came up with? That had to do with
Somsumer?
Somsumer, thank you.
Does it have to do with that?
I thought so. But I'm like
trying to
I'm a little confused. Like I'm
Hold on. Did he send a note? Let me see here.
I'm trying to find it.
Is this the I Spy one?
That's to my understanding, yes. There's like multiple emails coming in. The first one didn't work. So
yeah, we've got to get a description on what exactly this is here. So just to describe it, Mike B.
It's too esoteric.
If you're in the chat, you need to explain this one. You gotta send us a note. But to describe it for those who are just listening to the show and have no idea what we're talking about. So from the left to the right here, we've got the Canary Cry logo, and hanging down beneath that is that kind of looks like a rattler. Oh, I figured it out.
Rattle some cages.
Yes,
got it. Okay.
What it is. That was the missing piece. Okay, so he turned the Canary Cry logo into a baby's rattle, and there's a plus, and then some SUM plus, and then a bunch of cages, a bird cage, some dog kennels, and then Nick Cage. And oh man, what's that character's name from I forget. Anyways, all the great cages. Nick Cage as well. So there we go. Rattle some cages. Wow, that's a t-shirt for you. That'll get people at the DMV scratching their heads.
Got me. Oh, Johnny Cage.
Johnny Cage, right. That's who it is. Johnny Cage, Nick Cage. And then another character up there. Wow. Okay. Whew. Mike B, we did it. We solved your riddle.
We deconstructed your art. All right. Thank you for that. And he did send us a second one here. Navigating the Sea of Biases. And it's got what looks kind of like Noah's Ark. It's a big boat that says Canary Cry. And then an ocean of bias. Bias written over and
good. Over. He got real good with his clip art here in this one. Yes, we've got. Okay, I like the ocean. It's just blue, and it says bias, bias, bias in wavy letters there. So there we go. Canary Cry, navigating the sea of biases. Thank you very much, producer Mike B. You've got a beautiful mind.
Yeah, fantastic job to all of our artists, musicians, and producers. Thank you so much. And I think that's it. We're running short on time, so we better get back and run through some of the rest of the stories.
Oh, yeah, we got to blast through the rest of the show here. Okay, let's wake on up.
Yes, it's wake-up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Make sure to participate in the Canary Cry Silver giveaway. Thank you to Erin Moffat. Check her out on YouTube there. And you can enter to win a 1 troy ounce of fine silver. And it's a beautiful coin by making a social media post with a call to action for Canary Cry Radio. Make sure to hashtag Canary Cry News Talk and link something that people can listen to. There you go. Okay, sorry, we're zooming through now. We've got our cages are rattled. Gons, tell us about some cancel culture.
Cancel culture.
All right, this first story, New York Post. The headline: Gina Carano fans cry cancel culture in new change.org petition. This is Cara Dune.
Yeah,
on
this
The
was the Star
Mandalorian.
Wars, the Mandalorian lady.
Yeah, she was banned. Fans of Mandalorian Gina Carano are crying cancel culture in a new Change.org petition that demands Disney Plus bring her back to the series. The petition urges Disney Plus to keep Carano on in the role of Cara Dune in the hit Star Wars spinoff, and it had garnered some 3,000 signatures by early Thursday. I'm pretty sure it got past 7,500 here. Oh yeah, they're working their way towards 10,000 here. There's about 9,400 signatures, which it's a good amount.
And you know what's interesting about this is, so she made a Twitter post.
Yes,
I think it was Twitter.
Yep, it was
about decrying the horrible the situation in America, where the politicization is ripping people apart and causing a spooky time. And they've got some quotes from her Twitter post here. I have not been able to find her entire Twitter post in its entirety. All I can find is people picking and choosing stuff out of it. Did you ever see the original post?
I didn't really no, I don't think I did, but it doesn't even really matter, because all she did, she compared some of the things going on to Nazi Germany. And
it says here, Carano's inflammatory posts had compared the hatred aimed at people with opposing political views to the early groundswell of anti-Semitism in pre-World War II Germany. Quote, at first, quote, Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children, her post stated. The quote continues, because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them for simply being Jews. How is that any different from hating people or hating someone for their political views? Which, I mean, she's correct. That is the spooky part about what happened before World War II, was it was a cultural movement against the Jews. It was not just the government, Hitler's, Nazi government, that just out of the blue said, okay, we hate Jews now. It was a social movement. Yeah. And that's what, again, and now people hate it when you compare. Of course, you can compare Trump to Hitler, but you can't compare anybody to the Jews or anybody to anybody else in that situation. And look, is it a perfect comparison? No, it's not a perfect comparison. But, her point was to say, hey, everybody chill, because all this hatred and punching Republicans and wanting to call for violence against your political rivals, whether it's on the left or the right, is not it's not okay. This is how bad things happen.
And to prove that they're not, that this isn't the situation, they banned her.
Yes,
the irony of it all.
I know,
and also,
hilarious.
Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, he had previously tweeted out pictures of Jews in cages in side by side with the kids in cages back a few years ago.
Right.
So he's done the whole Nazi comparison as well, but can't cancel the main Mandalorian guy, I guess.
Can't do that. Yeah.
But of course,
but that was on that was.
Yeah, it was a different side of the political
Trump.
aisle.
So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can do it if you can make the comparison if it's against Trump,
right?
But not if it's against the left, or not even just against the left. Even if it's vaguely, not explicitly against the right, you can't do it.
Yeah, this is disappointing.
All right, who's next?
Who's
next?
else is canceled?
Cancel culture.
This is dailymail.co.uk. Anti-vaxxer Robert F. Kennedy, 67, is banned from Instagram for repeatedly sharing false claims about COVID-19, including theory that Bill Gates is pursuing Marxist plot to destroy U.S. sovereignty. So, there's...
It's about time. Again, I'm surprised this guy lasted so long on...
Well, they felt bad for him because
Instagram.
But Robert F. Kennedy has been banned from Instagram for what the company said was repeatedly sharing misinformation about COVID-19 vaccines. The son of the former U.S. Attorney General, U.S. Senator, and presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy is a prominent vaccine skeptic who set up his own advocacy group called Children Health Defense in 2016. A spokesperson for Facebook, which owns Instagram, confirmed the 67-year-old nephew of JFK had been banned for repeatedly sharing debunked claims about the coronavirus or vaccines. blah, blah, blah. It's the same kind of thing over and over again. But
this does not surprise me. I'm surprised it took so long.
Yeah, but
he's a Kennedy, so, he gets a little extra slack.
Yeah, and it's just weird how, again, to prove the point that we are not pursuing a Marxist plot to destroy U.S. sovereignty, we will use Marxist tactics to destroy U.S. sovereignty.
He'll use fascist tactics to prove that we're not Marxist. See?
Laughter is the only way to get through this, folks. I'm telling you. Either that or you're just going to be crying all day. All right, there's one more.
Cancel culture.
It's cancel season, apparently. This is from thehill.com. Twitter permanently suspends Project Veritas group. So finally, Project Veritas shut down on Twitter.
Oh, wow. Again, yeah, okay. Again, not surprised.
Nope.
I'm surprised it took this long.
I
thought they were already off.
Yeah, me too. But you know what's going to happen? Eventually, I think this is the hope, that they cancel so many people that the canceled become the majority, and then we can move on. And because it's almost like the people that are left on the Twitters and the Facebooks, they're kind of like they're the cancer,
That's what these cancel culture people don't realize.
I know.
When you've canceled all there are to cancel, who will you cancel?
It's like a what's that show? Twilight Zone episode, of that guy who's always complaining that there's all these people everywhere, and he's bitter about all the people.
And then
once they all disappeared,
there's no one else to hate.
There's no one else to hate, and then
except for himself.
Yep. So there's that, and then we have something good. To end the weekend.
Something good.
Tell you something good to end the weekend.
There is no other like mother. So treat her right. Come on.
Even if you think you can run from the cops, good luck getting past this mom.
I figured at least I could do if I got them down, tripped them up, whatever, then they, have a chance to get caught up.
That's Phyllis Pena in the red shirt.
First instinct was just to make sure he didn't go any further.
Captured on police dash cam, taking down a man she says was trying to look into her 15-year-old daughter's bedroom window early on a Sunday morning.
My kids are my life, and, just making sure I protect them pretty much.
Lake Jackson Police Sergeant Rory Welch gave her some credit.
It was a pretty good tackle.
He told us the suspect is 19-year-old Zane Hawkins. Police found Hawkins nearby, but he tried to get away. They say he started running back towards mom, who moved in and made the tackle. Her daughter helped hold down the suspect until officers caught up.
Not very often that we have somebody that actually steps in and puts themselves in harm's way to assist in apprehending somebody.
And the cop, fist bumped me, and he was like, "Hey, so I heard Texans are looking for a new linebacker."
And while she can laugh about it now, Phyllis was in mom mode at the time, saying she just wanted to protect her kids.
There you go. Mom tackles a man accused of peeking in daughter's bedroom.
The video's pretty good. She's pretty solid contact.
Oh no, it's a full-on football tackle where she's like shifting her feet. She's anticipating where he's gonna be. Not chasing after him.
He basically hits a brick wall.
Yeah, it's a good move there. Good job, Mom.
Good job, Mama.
We need more moms like this tackling the Marxists.
Marxists. All right, folks. Well, that's it. I got to get off to the dentist. So sorry the show is a little bit shorter today, but we're happy we got to get it in at all. And thank you to all of our producers for this episode 299, Quantum Epic, Veronica, Love and Ya, Hoop Looper, Drew, Stephanie, Ismael, and our anonymous Ethereum producer. Thank you very much. Thank you again to Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps. If you're watching this episode after the live broadcast, we'll have those timestamps so you can skip around and listen to whatever topic you want to without all the shenanigans. And again, thank you to Allie and Mike B for the art. Did you have something to say?
Yeah. Next episode is episode 300.
Oh yeah. Episode 300. Should we do a special producership?
We can, if anybody is willing.
300. If you just got an extra $300 laying around,
You got an extra 300 Bitcoin lying around. Consider.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to say no to $300 or 300 Bitcoin, but what do we do? We just do.
I don't know.
Any combination of threes, 300 pennies, 300 dimes, 300.
I will leave it up to the producers to come up with their own creative method.
Yeah, get creative, folks. It's the 300th episode, which is impressive because at the beginning of 2020, what were we at 140?
Something like that. Yeah, 140.
Yeah, so basically over the past year, we've done 3 years worth of episodes.
Wow.
So pretty impressive. And we're happy to do it. It's been a great year, and 300 episodes. So if you want to become a producer, this is a great. Should we do a? You know what? We didn't talk about this before the show, and right now, as I have to run off to a dentist appointment, is not the best time to figure it out. Do we want to do some sort of night or a mini night?
Mini night?
Yeah, a mini night. Let's we'll call them. Let's see.
Well,
chat room?
If
we're gonna do a sort of instant mini nighting for the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, if maybe $300 for those who want to get a seat at the round table. Maybe there's some sort of mini night that we can a squire.
Squire, that's not bad. I'm trying to think of the 300 movie. If there's something there, we can call them Spartans or something. The 300 Spartans.
Yeah, see, it's kind of a balance because the knights, the knights of the Canary Cry Roundtable, they're knights. They did it. They did it. They worked for it. They're the knights. So, but it'd be nice. It'd be fun to. Maybe they need some squires there, some honorable squires. Jester, somebody recommends a jester.
I don't know that people will be stoked about being a jester, but
I'm hearing squire is good.
Yeah,
I think we should do squire for the 300th episode. I don't know if we'll continue it forever, but if you want the chance to get into the Canary Cry Roundtable Knights and Dames as a squire or jester, you can choose that, because you can choose either a knight or a dame. You can choose to be a jester or a squire for the 300th episode. So there you go. I think that's good. What do you think?
Canary Cry peasants?
No, there's no peasants at the round table.
Oh, that's how we roll. We're all exclusive like that.
We're all peasants here.
Yeah. I like that idea. Let's run with it.
You can choose for if you want. If you've been saving up your stimmies, your stimulus. That's what the kids call them, stimmies.
Oh wow! Really?
If you're saving up your stimmies and you want to get at the Canary Cry Roundtable, you can come in for $300. You could be a squire or a jester. That's your choice. Okay.
All right. Perfect.
Okie dokie. We got to get out of here, or I got to get out of here. So there we go. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Monday, which is President's Day, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll be circling back on February 15th. That's Monday, back to our 9:30 schedule, hopefully.
Yeah, right. I'll count on starting at 9:30. I'll prepare, but we'll be disappointed.
We'll try our best. So there you go. We'll circle back around February 15th in the morning. That's next Monday. Put it on your calendar. Make sure to subscribe. Like the video if you have not yet done it. Thank you very much. That helps us take over the world. And there you go. You can become a jester or a squire at the Canary Cry Roundtable at the $300 level for our 300th episode. What am I forgetting? make sure to share the show out. We have the Canary Cry Silver giveaway for the month of February. If you want to win an ounce of fine silver, so generously provided by Erin Moffat, look her up on YouTube. And all you got to do is create a social media post, have a call to action, talk about how great the show is, use hashtag Canary Cry News Talk, and leave a link to some of our material. And each time you do that, you'll get entered into the Canary Cry Silver drawing for this month of February. Also, remember to leave ratings and reviews. That really helps us out a lot. You can do that by heading to Apple Podcasts and looking for Canary Cry News Talk. Go ahead and subscribe while you're there. And also, remember to support the show, even if you don't want to go full squire or full jester. You can head over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right, canarycryradio.com/support. Okay, folks, and lastly, you can help yourself, help your friends, your family, and us by letting them know. You got friends, you got family, they're starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems, and we'd love to be a part of that, so go ahead and share an episode with them. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right, just ask Noah. All right, Gons, I'm not giving you the last word this time because I got to get out of here. But thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in again. Circle back on February 15th in the morning. But until then, remember to think outside the cage.
Bye. I got the last word.
Everybody loves waffles.
Nuts.
Look it up.
Everybody loves waffles.
Cause he's a circle.
We will launch a new age. Reminding us what's up. I tried to tell you. Call it. Aliens. Aliens.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people soup.
Hallelujah.
Sinful generation!
He's a Satanist. Demonic power.
I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Make way for passing clouds as they expose Babylon. There's a line drawn in
started. Light up a huge blunt.
A joint.
Give everybody
Magic
mushrooms. Smoke. The CIA, I mean, lots of intelligence agencies have tested secretly dosing communities. LSD.
Psychoactive pills should be covertly administered. Just put me on some, I don't know.
Give you a shot in the butt.
Fluoride, oxytocin, get a chemical hug.
I did dabble, some of that robot crack. I know what it's like.
It's a lethal recipe for disaster. You need help.
If you're a pharmacist, you need to repent.
Polly. All right, weird.
Polly. It's Latin for many. Tick. 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 They'll suck your blood. Politic. 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 Many bloodsuckers. Politician. Politicians are politics. Don't let them drain you all away. Polly. It's Latin for many. Tick. They'll suck your blood. Politic. Many bloodsuckers. Politicians are politics. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Don't let them drain you all the way. Left wing, right wing, 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 left wing, right wing. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Two wings, same bird. Polly. It's Latin for many. Tick. They'll suck your blood. Politic. Many bloodsuckers. Politicians are politics. Don't let them drain you all the way. 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 Don't let them drain you all the way.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, man.
Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. Robot girls, robot boys, all together it's an image. It might seem scary, so frightening. Get ready for it. Don't
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. Fat and